Is Xbox Game Pass killing game sales? Now, in recent news, the acquisition between Xbox and Activision has been going crazy, man. And the CMA has released a big old document stating all this stuff about how they're pretty much scared of Xbox putting Call of Duty day one on Game Pass and PlayStation pretty much losing a whole bunch of sales because of this. Now, it's funny when we think about this because I don't ever see Call of Duty, the brand new Call of Duty, being day one on Game Pass. It doesn't really make much sense because this game continues to break records each and every year. So why would you make it essentially kind of free on a $10, $15 service? Even if you do bring in a lot of people from PlayStation, it's not going to replace the numbers that you would be making selling the game full price on both platforms. Now, the CMA didn't just say they were scared of Xbox putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. They also said they were scared of PlayStation not having any kind of Call of Duty or having a worse version of Call of Duty. And to that, I just laugh because right now Xbox players are getting a worse version of Call of Duty. Right now, Steam and PC players and Battle.net players, however you play on PC, you're getting a worse version of Call of Duty. The best version of Call of Duty is hands down the PlayStation version. And you could probably ask Call of Duty developers, and if they could say off the record how the game actually runs on all three platforms, they would tell you probably the PlayStation version is the best version. And it's crazy because the CMA is fighting so hard to appeal to PlayStation, I guess? I'm not sure what Jim Ryan has said to these people, but obviously it has worked because they think that Sony would be at a huge loss if they did not have Call of Duty in their arsenal. And although that may be true, I don't think Microsoft is here with the intentions to keep Call of Duty from PlayStation. Now, enough of that. We're here to talk about Game Pass and how do I feel about Game Pass killing game sales? Do I think that's true or not? Well, obviously I do. A lot of people don't purchase games that are on Game Pass. You essentially get to pay for these games with your buy-in subscription price. So no longer do people buy to play games, they just pay for their subscription and they get to play these games. It's essentially just like Netflix. You're not necessarily watching a Netflix original and then saying, you know what, I'm finna go on Netflix and I'm finna try to buy this movie. No one does that. No one does that. And it may be some people that do that, but it's few and far between. And there's nothing wrong with purchasing games. A lot of the times Game Pass gives you deals on the games that are featured in Game Pass so you can get them at a discounted rate, and that's always cool. But a lot of people, once they play games, they're not coming back to them. And I think Microsoft has taken a look at that metric and seeing that it's more profitable to essentially rent you the game versus you buying the game, beating it within 2 to 3 weeks, and then never touching that game again. Versus now, I know in my situation, it's so many games on Game Pass that I'll play a game, I'll play a little bit of it, and then I'll put it on the back burner. Especially if I know it's an Xbox exclusive and it's not leaving the service, I'll put it on the back burner and I'll come back to it later because I know I can. It's always going to be on the service. Now, when it comes to games like Call of Duty and we see bigger franchises trying to come over to Game Pass, I think the best model you can do is put your older titles on the service to get people familiar with what your new title is going to offer. So, in the same sense, Sony could do the same thing. And I think they did when PlayStation Plus first got revamped. They put Last of Us Remastered on there so you can play that game, experience it, and then now if you want to play and dive deeper into that world, you buy the latest title for full price because it's not on the service, which I'm not sure if Last of Us Part 2 is on the service or not. But that's not my point. My point is you're more likely to buy a game when you know more about the franchise. For me, I bought all the Yakuza games because I played Zero on Game Pass and I loved it. After playing it, I've been now playing through all the Yakuza games, slowly but surely, but I got into the series because of Game Pass, because I essentially got to try it out for free. And I think that's the best part of Game Pass. Although it may hurt sales on the back end, I think it's bringing more people to franchises that never would have played any of these games before in their life, because a lot of us are stuck in the cycle of Call of Duty, 2K, Madden, and a lot of us aren't in that cycle, but they're also in a whole different cycle where they won't even play Western games, or they won't even play fighting games, or they won't even play RPGs, or they won't play big open world games, or they won't play games like Pokemon, or they won't play games like your Marios, and you won't play your Halos. What I'm trying to get at is Game Pass gives you so much more options, so much more bang for your buck, and it may hurt game sales, but it is better for the gamers. And I think if Microsoft can continue to grow the service and continue to offer fair and competitive deals for these developers to put their game and entice to put their game on the service, it's a win-win for everybody. Now, how do we keep Game Pass growing? How do you keep Game Pass growing but also keep purchases growing for your game? I think the smartest thing, if you don't end up putting an old title on the service, or if you're a brand new developer and you don't have an old title to put on the service, DLC is the best way to entice people to buy your game. So put the base game, no DLC, no nothing, on Game Pass. Let people, if they want to play the game, they can play it that way. But if you want all the packed in DLC, if you want all the great cool stuff, buy the complete edition on the store, and we'll give you a discounted rate if you have Game Pass. And I think that's the best way they can do this going forward, because I mean, I remember so fondly the days where you would buy your game and you'd get everything. And I think that's what people miss, because nowadays you don't buy games and get everything. You buy games and get a slice of the package, and you're sold the rest of the game later on. So that's the best way I think they can save Game Pass. So let me know down in the comment section below, do you feel like Game Pass is really hurting game sales on the back end? Or do you feel like Game Pass is good for gamers? Are you subscribed to Game Pass? Or are you subscribed to PlayStation Plus? Because it's funny how the CMA isn't talking about PlayStation Plus and game sales in any of this. Let me know down in the comment section below. I will catch you guys in the next video. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Everybody new or old, make sure you hit that bell icon so you never miss another video. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.